Hey guys, Nathan Brendan Masters. All right, guys, I got another one for you. As I mentioned last week, this will probably be the last one. This is a Sandisk Ultra. This is not the Extreme. This is the Ultra, and there. I want to get this one and check it out because there's an 80 megabyte per second version of this card that works with the Blackmagic Pocket. It'll record everything all the way up to 24p raw, but that's literally where it stops. It stops at 24p. If you try to do 25 or you try to do anything beyond that, it's a no-go. And I'll actually put a link in the description. There's a guy that was actually talking about that, and so I'll link you to his video. This is a newer version of that card, and it does 100 megabytes per second. So I just said, well, let's see what we can do with that, and if that will do the same thing. It was cheap, so let's see what it can do. All right, guys, Sandisk Ultra. This is a 128 gig card, 100 megabytes per second. We're going to see what it can do right here, right now. So let's pop it in. My 128 right there. Okay, so the card is recognized. That's a good start. Let's go into the menu. What we're gonna do, go ahead and format the card. All right, so we're looking good. All right, guys, now I thought we were gonna have a winner, but we don't. We only got like 11 seconds in, and then we got the dreaded exclamation point. So this one's no-go, but like I said, I only got it because I heard about the 80-second or the 80 megabytes per second version, and I figured, well, this one's 100 megabits per second, so it should be better. But I'm willing to bet that it's the same write speed as the other card. Even if it's the same read speed, I'm going to say it's probably the same write speed. But I did do a full test. I didn't just do 30 frames per second. I went ahead and went, of course, down to 24p, 24 frames per second raw, to see if this camera would be able to record, or if this card actually would be able to record 24p raw. And well, you'll see in a minute, that didn't work out very well either. So this card actually ended up being a no-go. Again, it's not a bad card. I'm sure it'll work in any of my older cameras, or probably most of my cameras that don't run at this high a bit rate, but obviously won't run in any of my 4K cameras. But I will give the card some credit. It got all the way to 14 seconds before it actually, the exclamation point appeared. So give it some credit for that. Now, the big deal about this card is that it's obviously not rated for this camera, but people were saying that it did work with it. So I got, at least the 80 megabyte card worked with it. So of course I did get curious about that, and I went ahead and got the 80 gig card, but I just got it today. So this would have been up a few days ago. As a matter of fact, probably would have been up last week, if not for the mail being backed up here and that card being late. So let's jump into that. It's not going to take very long, trust me. Hey guys, so it's been a few days since that last video. I actually have the last card that I plan to test at this time, and that is this one. It's the Sandisk Ultra. This is a refurb. Now, the thing about this card is it only does 80. This card does 80 megabytes per second. Let's see if I can get it on there where you can see it. So this is 80 megabytes per second. So people say that this card actually works in the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. So we're going to test it out. Now, you saw the 100 megabytes per second card didn't work. Or it did, but we got the exclamation point. So all I'm going to do with this one is see how long we can work with this before we get the exclamation point. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and format that. And we'll take it from there. So I'm hoping this is in focus. There we go. All right, so we're done there. Go back to our menu. Okay, so I'm not going to do a big elaborate thing for this one. We're just going to turn it on and see how long it can go without getting the exclamation point. So let's see what we got. And we are doing 24p right now, 1080 at 24p. And so, oh, no. I was just about to say, so far so good, but I'm already getting the exclamation point. And if we're getting it in 24p, we might as well forget about the rest of them. You know what? Let's go ahead and see what happens in ProRes. Let's see, settings. You're going to go to ProRes. We're going to go to ProRes HQ. Go back. Okay, see if we can get some ProRes HQ. In case you're wondering why it's dark, I still have the lens cap on, so I just want to see how far I can get. And so far so good on the ProRes. So I'm just going to let it run for about a minute or so and see where we go from there. But, you know, this is probably the least likely card to buy. It's not, those Sandisk Ultra cards seem like they're a little bit easier to get a hold of than the extreme cards. So, you know, all right, guys, we're coming up on a minute, and we don't seem to have a problem. So I'm going to assume if we got to this point and we haven't had a problem, that this card is good for ProRes. But the issue was finding a card that works for RAW all the way up to 30p, and we did. So there you have it, guys. This card and this card that I just put in the camera, these two cards, I'm not going to say that they don't work, but there's a possibility of dropped frames. Now I hear people have recorded with this card and they haven't had a problem. Even though they're getting the exclamation point, they don't, you know, they say it doesn't drop frames or anything. It actually does a good job. Now I'm going to assume that this card probably has a faster read speed, but probably has the same write speed as this one. That's an assumption. I don't know that as a fact. But these cards both get the exclamation point. But people say that this one will still do it without drop frames. But I wouldn't risk it considering the fact that we actually have so many other cards that we can get. And I've shown those to you. So with that being the case, guys, these are the last two that I'm going to test, really. You have a pretty good amount of cards that you can get and that you can choose from. Again, I know a lot of people say this particular card does work, and I'm not saying that it doesn't, but why chance it when you can actually get other cards that we know for a fact will work. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. You guys take it easy. Nathan Brendan Masters, Oscar.
Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will